In this problem, we've got points E, F, and G, and we don't know what any of those are, but we do know that they're all in the same equation. They're all in the same line. So what we've got to do in a problem like this is take the information they give us and then translate it onto the picture if they haven't already. You'll notice that G intercepts the x-axis. That means that x has to, or y has to equal 0. And you'll notice that EF and FG are both the same distance. That makes F the midpoint. And they tell you that FH is perpendicular, but you need to put a square in there to remind you when you're doing the problem. And then and also in a problem like this, what you want to do is focus on what you can find. What happens is sometimes you just focus on what they ask for and you can't find it right away. There's several things you may have to find first. So just look and see what it is you possibly can find. In this case, you could find point G because we know that the value of y is going to be 0, so we can plug that into the equation and find out what the x-intercept is. We can find the slope of EG because we have the equation. Once we have the slope of EG, we can find the slope of FH because it's perpendicular. Once we have the slope of FH, we can find the equation of that line. And then we can find the point F because we can find the two equations and solve them simultaneously. And then E is an endpoint where we know the middle and the end. So go ahead and pause this and try to do that and then start back up again, and then we can take a look and see what we got. Okay, so the first thing is, if you got to find point G, all you got to do is substitute in a 0 for the y. We know it's an x-intercept. Intercepts always have a y equals 0. So then that means that our x-intercept is going to be 16, and that gives us point G. Now, again, they didn't ask for that, but that's the only thing we could figure out. And we also can figure out the slope of EG by just rearranging the equation to y equals mx plus b form. We now know that that slope is -1/2. Again, they didn't ask for that, but we needed to figure it out. And then once I know that slope, I can find FH because it's perpendicular. And once I know the slope of FH, I can plug in the point of H and I can write an equation of a line using a slope-intercept form because I know that later I'm going to solve simultaneously. Anyway, I get a y-intercept of -17. And see, now once I've got that, I've got two equations, EG and FH. I can solve them simultaneously to find out where they intersect, which is actually point F. And that's going to be the point 10, x equals 10. And when I substitute the 10 back into the original equation, I find out that the y is going to be 3. And so now I know that F is 10, 3. All right, that's the first thing that I actually solved that they asked for, and that's a midpoint. And so I've got a midpoint and two ends. Actually, I don't have the one end, but if I've got an end and a middle, then all I'm going to do is use the midpoint formula. In this case, it'll be x plus 16 over 2 equal 10 and y plus 0 over 2 equal 3. And I'm going to find out that my end is going to be 4, 6, and my end is E. So that's how you figure out this problem. You'll notice we had to do 4 things before we actually could figure out the things they asked for. And so it's really important to just focus on doing what you can do and mapping out a strategy beforehand and then just following it. All right, thanks for watching. Hope that helps.